Hi, I'm Celia Canavan. I am a rising senior at UMF. I am a political science and international and global studies major, and I am the vice president of the Queer Student Union.
Hi, my name is Carly Jacqueline. I'm originally from Ohio, and I'm a rising senior at the University of Maine at Farmington. I am a creative writing major and a rising senior.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Royalty. I'm a rising senior here. I am a double major in creative writing and psychology, and I'm originally from New Haven, Connecticut.
I originally wanted to come to UMF because of partnership with Alice James Books, and I know that the creative writing major is very well respected from here. I wanted a BFA, and a lot of schools don't offer that anymore, and that's why I came here.
I knew going into my college application process that I wanted to go to a small liberal arts college, but I also had some qualms about going to a private university in terms of like ethics, and I really wanted to go to a state university, and UMF was the perfect compromise. It offered these wonderful, high-quality humanities programs, and I also didn't have to pay that much. I got to go to a state school in a state that I didn't live in, but I qualified for in-state tuition because of a partnership deal that we have. When I applied, it was the perfect deal.
I originally didn't want to go to college, and I think that's my favorite part about my UMF story is that I had always said it would take a really good university to get me to think about applying to college. And when I saw UMF at a college fair, the deep connection that we just immediately had with the admissions counselor and myself and the queer representation that was just so prevalent in the advertising, it was really important for me to see that in a school. So I figured out the school I wanted first and then heard all about their English program because that's what I wanted at the time, and found myself at UMF.
Having a well-rounded education is especially important for our school, as our education major is a huge part of UMF. I think that to be a good teacher, you need to have experience in all of the disciplines and not just like STEM. You need to know about philosophy, you need to know about religion, you need to know about women's and gender studies to care about your students and teach them in a good way.
It's inherent, the different types of diversity and experiences that are offered at a university, especially for a school like UMF. We're a primarily white institute, so there's a lot more that kind of needs to go into the work of diversifying the curriculum and education, and it's almost as vital as the academics. In some ways it's more because it's the community you're going to live in for the next 4 years.
At institutions like UMF, we should be able to learn as much from each other as we're able to learn from our professors. And so being able to interact with people that were in other majors, that were in completely different fields of study, for me was such a valuable learning experience. Like when I got to have a conversation with somebody in the philosophy program at the same table that someone from biosciences was sitting at, like that conversation was so like vital and important to my learning experience. And so I think that that's like really where diversity thrives. That's like what diversity can accomplish.
So currently the campus, or UMF, is going through a pretty big budget crisis. It's something that's kind of been murmurs on campus since at least our freshman year, maybe longer. But where it's gotten to now, it's being pinned as a pinnacle reason to have laid off 9 faculty specifically within our humanities department. So humanities has a bunch of different facets to it, but in and of that, we lost representation on campus. Different club advisors for the Jewish Student Union or the Queer Student Union, the InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. Much of our campus community is bleeding with little to no communication from higher-ups. We have insider sources telling us that faculty have been threatened into silence on the issue, so we're not sure too much of what's going on right now, but the bigger issue we're seeing at play is a lot of silencing of the union and bigger things going on with the way that the university is funded and its role in the unified accreditation process at the UMaine system.
I'd just like to add, in addition to what you said, Celia, that 9 professors have been retrenched. That's the word that they're using, but it basically means that these people have been fired. Some of them will go on retainer or be placed in other institutions, Others will just leave the system. But in addition to those 9 more professors have been incentivized to take early retirement deals. 2 of these professors were on stepped retirement. The rest of them were not planning to retire. And some of these professors that took the early retirement deal, as well as some of the professors that were retrenched, were tenured. So that's kind of remarkable that they were able to fire, I think it was 5 tenured professors. That's kind of unheard of. Tenure is supposed to be a way of securing jobs so that stuff like this can't happen.
Chancellor Malloy and the Board of Trustees seem to be bullying our mentors into silence and into sort of a horizontal aggression type of situation in which the professors are fighting for their jobs amongst themselves, and they're being threatened by the administration to keep quiet about what's going on. And that is frankly what is maybe the most appalling thing to me about this situation. When I first heard about it, I heard it from my minor advisor, Philip Francis. I was a religion minor, and I heard from the department head that classes were being canceled, some classes that I was enrolled in, some religion classes were being cut due to staffing changes. That's the only explanation that we got at first, and it was absolutely devastating because Philip Francis is somebody that I have worked closely with. He was helping me apply to grad school. This is a relationship that was a pillar of my experience here at UMF and was going to help me in my further academic career, and he's gone now, and there was absolutely no explanation given from any higher-ups, and it was confusing, it was devastating, and it was enraging.
Yeah, I was absolutely devastated by these changes. When I first found out that my Spanish class with Courtney Benjamin, which I'd been really excited for, when I found out that that was canceled, as sad as I was, I went on Main Street and I looked for more classes, and I was trying to figure out what class to take. And I was thinking about the professors that I like, and I was like, oh, I should look up what Eric McCurdy is teaching next semester, and I tried to enroll in one of his classes on psychotherapy and ethics, and it also came up as impossible to enroll in. And I had this moment where I was like, is everybody gone? And it really sort of felt like the world that I had come to know and really love here was sort of disintegrating around me. And I kind of had to scramble to find a 4th class to fill that gap, because everyone that I thought of, Philip Francis, Jonathan Cohen, everyone that I would have gone to as a professor, as someone that teaches a class that I want to take, they were gone. And the class that I did end up taking was an anthropology class with a professor that I've heard was on the precipice of being fired. So it just sort of feels like everything is like crumbling out from under us.
When I heard about all of this happening, I did not get to hear it from anyone that worked with the university right away. I heard it from Yik Yak, which is the campus anonymous app to just post, random crap. So hearing that, my first thought was, that's not real. It's not happening. It can't happen on this campus. Not my program, I think, was the first thing I thought. And then I was at work when Dr. Eric McCurdy came in, and he was a very close, colleague of mine. I never had a class with him, but he was the advisor to my club, and I worked with him on our campus violence project. So losing him was kind of the first, oh no, what's happening? This isn't real. And then my department head, who I've still heard nothing from the International and Global Studies department or anyone above that on what's going to happen to our program, but Olivia Donaldson was our department head, and she has also been retrenched.
These are professors that are well loved by everyone, unanimously. And it's part of that makes this so enraging. Our student body has close connections with these professors because of the way that they teach and the subjects that they teach. They teach with compassion, empathy, understanding. They teach with truth, and that is something that shouldn't be rare, but oftentimes is.
What speaks volumes to me about this is I have only taken classes with 2 of these professors that are now gone, but I am still just as deeply enraged by all 9 as I would be if it were just the 2 that I had classes with. This is not a campus where you walk around and the professors you don't have classes with don't care about you. Dr. Jonathan Cohen is such a beloved part of this campus because you don't have to be one of his philosophy students or someone in the Jewish Student Union for him to just connect with you and care about you. And many of these professors teach in that same way. A lot of the communication we've gotten from these professors is how heartbroken they are to be leaving this campus. And that speaks for the way that mentoring has always worked on this campus. It's hard to find a professor that people don't like. This campus is a community, and seeing these mentors leave is a direct attack on this community.
Mm-hmm. Carly and I just started the Jewish Student Union at the school this past semester, and Jonathan Cohen drove us to Temple. He drove us to other Jewish related services. He made us food. His wife made us food. Eric McCurdy not once but twice baked muffins for my class this past semester. He brought us cocoa when it was cold outside. These are the kind of people that they're finding. These are altruistic people that care deeply about us.
They're also amazing teachers. The French professor that has been retrenched, Andre, I was having trouble in French last semester, and that is unusual for me. I will say that I have maintained a 4.0 GPA since I have been here at college. And it's hard work to do that. But I was slipping last semester, and I was slipping hard and fast. I did not contact Andre. I was embarrassed. He contacted me. He said, "Hi, Carly, I can tell that you are not doing too well. Would you like to meet with me, talk about what's going on, and I can give you some outside assistance?" And that is something that is remarkable, and that is the mark of an amazing teacher.
A lot of students like myself come here for the education, take these classes in other areas, and we move over to those programs. So while the initial enrollment rate and the admission rate for women and gender studies may not be huge, the students that end up moving into that program or double majoring or minoring is a wide margin of students. International and Global Studies is one of our largest programs on campus just in the spread that it has. So whether you're a minor in IGS or a major in IGS, I know at least 5 other people that are in that program, and that's not something many people can say in the humanities department. But our community is a growing one, and I've worked in admissions, and Jocelyn, you work in marketing right now, right? Yeah, and was in admissions. And we've seen the students that come in, and the way students will light up when we bring up the fact that there is these opportunities, the quality of the education that we're paying for, and to bring well-rounded educators and to have a community that cares about one another and even just has the ability to offer these programs. Like the New Commons Project was a humanities-driven thing on campus that was completely open to the public. And if humanities is continued to be cut, things like that and this kind of symbiotic relationship we have with the community will eventually get affected. It may not happen today, it may not happen next week, but this isn't just a university issue. This is the greater Farmington community.
What is also vital to our community is the way that the humanities empowers people to community organize, like what we're doing right now, and to become professors, educators, lawyers. Our alumni are successful people. Our alumni from the humanities are incredibly successful, and I think that speaks for itself.
When we initially found out about these cuts, we thought that they were solely to social sciences and humanities, but we found out later that there are actually professors of biology, chemistry, I think that there were a few other STEM professors, education, math, that were asked to step down. And so this is actually an issue that reaches into all walks of life and all majors here at UMF. But I think it's also just important to emphasize that like art and like making art and creating art, like that is what remains of people in society. And if we want to study our culture, if we want to advance our culture and not stagnate, like art is the key to doing that. Humanities are the key to making sure that we progress as a people.
I'm one of many students in the US right now who, you know, didn't want to go to college when they first got into it. And at first, yeah, it was my parents saying, what are you going to do if you don't go to college? And I didn't have a good answer, so I came here. But there are so many people right now who are, you know, taking a step back from public education. But public education will always still affect the greater population. We need people to teach these people trades. We need people that are talking with these people. And people need an outlet. I have had so many humanities classes, social science classes that have the local plumber or someone that's been working in construction for 45 years and just wanted to come in and, you know, take a class on something they found really interesting. It's important to realize that these degree paths just enhance our being and enhance what we're doing. And if you enjoy it, just get into it. It doesn't matter what success means to you. It's what success means to a community. And Humanities has brought a community to Farmington.
The line between humanities and STEM is not drawn as firmly as I think people often believe it is. I want to go to law school. I want to be a lawyer, and that's generally considered a successful job. If I become a lawyer, I will have succeeded in the eyes of society. But my legal education has been enriched in the past by our philosophy programs, by our women's and gender studies programs, and without that, I would not be as well-rounded of a candidate for law school as I am right now. Like, I don't think that I would be a good lawyer if I didn't understand the very complicated inner workings of gender and class that Ann Kennedy teaches about. I don't think that I would be a good lawyer if I didn't have the critical thinking skills that Jonathan Cohen teaches. These are classes that affect every person, that enrich every person's life and their ability to move through the world, regardless of what their end goal is. If I do end up working at Starbucks with my creative writing degree, and I have spent 4 years doing what I love and honing my skill, I will feel as though I have succeeded. That's what success is to me. That's what success could be. And so I think when we think about success, it's important to acknowledge that there are many different definitions of success, and not all of them have anything to do with money. It isn't as clear-cut as they're saying that it is. It's easy to look at the numbers on paper and say, okay, this class has low enrollment, this class has high enrollment. But two of the departments that were cut, Women's and Gender Studies and Religion, had only one professor who was simultaneously the sole professor and the department head. And so there were only so many classes that these professors could offer. Ann Kennedy's classes were full every semester, but they could only offer so many women's and gender studies classes because the staff was limited. So if anything, I think that this was a moment to invest in the humanities rather than divest. Because we've seen again and again that the humanities is a large part of what brings people to campus. Like, people are excited about these classes. And so there's definitely something to take into consideration. And also the political climate is something that doesn't seem like it was considered at all when these cutbacks happened. Roe v. Wade is like currently being rolled back, and to cut women's and gender studies, regardless of enrollment rates, in the midst of that crisis, is deeply irresponsible from my point of view.
Farmington has always been open, and we're not doing this out of spite. It would be a different conversation if people had talked to us or talked to the community, and this was something that was wanted by many. This was not talked about. This was not brought to faculty. This was not brought to staff. It wasn't brought to the students who are investing thousands of dollars every year into this education and are quite literally plowing ourselves into debt to be here. We're fighting because this is everyone we love. This is the people that we see at the coffee shop on a Sunday. This is the people that are selling us books when we go downtown. This is the kids who are running around playing on Hippick Field, but in 10 years are going to have to pick out a college, and a program they're really interested in isn't close enough to mom and dad, and they're just not ready to leave yet. This is a human issue. It's not a campus issue. It's not a higher education issue. And it's outside the walls of academia, which can feel so untouchable at times. This really is just Farmington community and what it means to be part of that family. We have been seeing some amazing support from our community already, and I think that's one of the big things we want to echo is a thank you to the Farmington community that is not just campus.
I want to make it absolutely clear that our movement stands with the faculty. We stand with the people in the UMF administration who are doing everything that they can. We do not stand with the University of Maine system overall, and we do not stand with Dan Malloy.
The UMaine system does not know UMF, and what we're asking for is for the community and for UMF to have a say in what goes on at our campus.
Regarding the financial crisis and regarding our new interim president, the Daily Bulldog, the Sun Journal, those outlets have been covering this in depth, and they have been uncovering some pretty disturbing facts.
What we want to see happen here is accountability and transparency. UMF for years now has been unable to fulfill transparency and rarely takes accountability. And this isn't just a humanities issue, this is an issue of violence on campus, on just otherwise transparency when we had the COVID housing crisis. This campus is not known for its accountability and its transparency, and while we can put so much blame on the university, this is also a direct byproduct of the chancellor and the board of trustees. Our end goal here is to get some of these jobs back for our professors, get our programs back, and we are calling for the removal of Chancellor Malloy from his position.
What is especially important for community members to do is to show up, to connect with us over social media or otherwise email. We have a social media account at Save Humanities UMF on Instagram. I think that is important because Malloy did not think that we were going to fight back. It is clear that he did not think that the students were this strong, but our professors have taught us well, and we will not be backing down.
If you're interested in helping, calling Dan Malloy's office, emailing Dan Malloy is so valuable. Calling Janet Mills, even calling Susan Collins, like call anyone, email anyone. We need like a barrage of people contacting their representatives. And I also want to mention that like this is an issue that goes very high up. We're not trying as a movement to focus our frustration or our anger or our sadness on the level of just this university. The administration here at UMF can only do so much, and we're really interested in the chancellor, in the board of trustees, as you've both said. So direct attention there.
I know a lot of people might think that we're just being angry college students. We're not. We are also inspired, and we are empowering ourselves to really take back our community and secure the foundations of our community. And what I think is really the root of this for me is to keep UMF as a safe haven for students who might otherwise feel marginalized from like the greater like society. And I think we need to preserve that.
We are angry, and I think that's one of the big things that we don't want to shy away from is we should be angry. Mm-hmm. Our programs have been cut, our faculty have been lied to, threatened, forced into silence. We're here because Farmington has taught us one thing, and it's to fight for our community, and it's to fight for the people we consider family. The three of us are out-of-state students, so we really had to throw ourselves into Farmington because I don't know about either of you. I've never been to Maine. I had never been here. I had no real understanding of what it was like to live rural. I lived 30 minutes outside of Boston. So Farmington opened itself up to me, and these professors taught me about how to be who I could be at Farmington. So our movement is not the Farmington community. That is the big thing we want to stress, is we are not coming for Farmington. This is not something that is happening in the community. We hold no one accountable in this community. Who we do hold accountable are the people at the UMaine system who have consistently underfunded our university and our community and have not at all recognized what this campus has gone through.
I think that when you love something, you fight for it. I invite you to like think about someone that you love very much. If they were being hurt, would you get loud on their behalf? Would you advocate for them? Or would you remain complacent? I think all of us would advocate for the people that we love, and I don't understand why it has to be different from this for this university. We do love our home here. We love our faculty members, both the ones that have been retrenched and the ones that remain. And we want to make sure that we can preserve this place. So our anger does not come from a place of bitterness. It absolutely comes from a place of love. And it will continue to come from that place.